Welcome back to the channel. I'm JustMoparJoe. Here's what we got going today. So I'm back on the 72 Roadrunner, and it's starting to get down to kind of the nitty-gritty stuff here. The nitpicky things that nobody likes to do, even on their own car, myself included, but it's not going to be bad. I've got to put a new power steering box on this one. It's got a terrible leak right there at that top seal. So what we did, he had a different box. We sent it off to old Cardone, whatever you want to call them. So here's the one they sent me back, the 27-6581. They don't readily sell these anymore if you call your parts stores, whatever. So I went to a kind of a specialty store, and they actually sent it off, got it back for me. So this is the unboxing. I've never seen this thing. Hopefully it's the right one. No idea if it's the same one or not. It's supposed to be the same one, but we'll see. What do we say here? Before installing replacement gear, disassemble, clean, inspect, return nozzle valve body. Okay. I can read and understand directions. Probably here and here, looks like. Oh, running out. Yep. I'll wait and pull that plug later. I'll need to put put my steering shaft on in a minute and my pitman arm on after I get that one off. They did send, this might have been the old stuff back. Yeah. The old pitman arm was actually cut with a blowtorch on this one, so definitely not using it. So that is a big box indeed, and I'm sure I'm gonna have to pull this brand new header off that I just put on, but that's how it goes sometimes. And I'll loosen up the column, slide it back. Not much room after it deadheads into the K-frame, so I may go ahead and snatch this battery out of the way too, just to give me a little more space. Won't take much, but gotta get to work. Alright, so I've got went ahead and took the battery box off out of the way. Had a little arm here, unbolted it. The pitman arm I've got freed up from the center link. So what I think I'm going to do now, if I can get this power steering pump off out of the way, it's going to open up a lot of space here. I'd like to take this thing out from the top. If I didn't have to pull, I mean if I have to pull the header, okay, but maybe I can just loosen it, get it leaned a little bit. I've got to go ahead and drive that pin out of there. I've got a punch for it, so I'll take a hammer and a punch, knock it out. I might also go ahead and pull those front two spark plugs and get the wires out of the way. That way they don't get bumped or something and cracked, and then we'll be chasing a miss later, something like that. Show you what I did real quick. I popped, there was 3 bolts, 1, 2, 3 on the front of that bracket. Pop those loose, they look like that. And the long bolt here, I just unbolted, so that back bracket came with the pump. I've loosened up this high pressure line and the low pressure, so I can go ahead and pull those off. I don't know how much it's going to drip. I got a little rag there, but my plan is to go ahead and get this pump out of the way. This is a 5/8. I did go ahead and knock off my steering coupler, whatever you want to call that. It comes from the column joint. It's not a rag joint, I don't think, because it's not a giant piece of rubber. It's a swivel joint, maybe? I don't know. Y'all tell me in the comments, and then I'll know. There it is. Alright, come on up out of there. Alright, I got my 3 big bolts out from the bottom, and I'm going to attempt to get this dude out of here from the top. If it won't work, then I'll loosen up the header. But I know it's not light. Alright, so in my determination not to take this header off, I pulled that motor mounts bolt and jacked up on the pan with a block of wood, and I got a little bar, a little bit more clearance now. It's up about a 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Let's see if I can't wrestle now. Rotate. Come on. Oh, I'll take that. Look how close we are. Look at that. Nah. Don't drop that on the fender. Here we are side by side. Since this one's still got the pitman on it, it doesn't seem to want to look identical to me. I will go ahead and get this dude pulled off. Check it out. It didn't seem to have any slack here. The slack in the box was this shaft here. It would pull in and out, and then where the pitman goes in here, a little bit right there, but that seemed to be magnified as it was in the vehicle. I mean, that's slack there and slack here. Mike could tighten up the I believe they call that a worm gear, adjust it a little bit, but new box is nice and tight. I'm gonna switch over. I gotta have this piece here, it'll go on there, and switch my pitman arm over, and I'll be ready to reverse this process. Alright, so I got this stuck back together here. I got my 3 bolts tight to hold the box on itself, and I just got this, the collar tapped back onto here. I have not driven the pin back in yet. I wanted to be sure everything was right. It does have a master keyway, and for me, the master keyway is up. We figured out after he did the alignment on it, the steering wheel was upside down, and we looked, saw that was a master key, looked at the pitman arm, there was no way of changing it. And actually what I had to do, which I'm assuming when this car was apart and they shoved it back together or something, the column itself pulled out of the joint. It's got 2 kind of 2 blocks. They look kind of like blocks. I'm not sure what they're called, and then there's a little clip, like a spring clip, that pushes them apart. So I pulled that out, rotated the wheel correctly, and shoved it back in. So that's good now. I get to play with everybody's favorite here, the old rubber of death, and this clamp on, the clamp that holds the grease in, or whatever you want to call it. So I'll get that tightened up. I need to tighten back up my column. I've just got it hanging loosely, but I double checked for my pitman arm. Right now the wheels are straight, and if you look at the steering wheel, I've got the center cap off, whatever. This is the top, and if I go to the right, there's a half, there's a hole, so that's one full turn, 1 1/2, and then it goes to about right there, so almost 1 3/4. So if I go back 3/4, 1 3/4, so that's center right there. I look at my wheels, they're straight. Now I'll do it again to the left. There's a half, there's a hole, 1 full turn, 1 1/2, and then 1 3/4. So if I go 1 3/4 back, there's that 3/4 right there. The wheels are straight again. So I got that good and centered. All right, it has been a day for sure. Got that thing wrestled in. Everything's hooked up. High pressure, low pressure. Tightened all my power steering bolts again. Belt's good and tight on it. Filled it up. Cycled it all the way left, all the way right, 2 or 3 times. Let the bubbles get out of it. As far as I know, she should be good to go. The steering. I got a few more little items to go on this. Got a new windshield. You can see this one's got the big scratch marks in it. I think it's an original. And yeah, it's got a Pentastar on it, so it's fairly old. I got to fix that trim on the other side where it's popped up. I got new gauges to go in here. See, his white gauges are peeling and crusty. Just lots of little things. I haven't tried headlights, tail lights, brake lights. Some of that stuff's hooked up, but I don't know how well it's hooked up. Horn, the cable, you see somebody's the cable for the hood latch, that's definitely wrong and bad. So that's got to get fixed. Charging AC, I got a guy that can do that. Just throw the little hose on here, order it. Hook my heater hoses back up. I got a new valve right for this. If you'll remember, when on the break-in, that sucker started just pouring fluid out of it. Antifreeze, I mean. But while it's sitting here, I'll crank it up for you. You can listen to it. It's a sweet sounding old car, and it's finally starting to get back right. So let's try it and see here. Oh, there's a blinker. Still on the high idle. I'll back up a little bit. Should be getting pretty close to a test drive here before long, and I'll definitely bring y'all along for that.